GoTo offers integrations with a variety of CRM systems, and are all included under one integrations license, which is visible in the admin portal on the homepage under Products. The license adds integrations to the menu bar. Integration platforms are constantly being added, so be sure to check these frequently. Today I'm going to demonstrate Microsoft Dynamics. The Account Information tab is used for setup. I will leave that to the end of the demonstration. Note, however, that in order to connect, you will need super admin credentials on GoTo and admin credentials on Microsoft Dynamics. When you click on the Workflows tab, you will find the functions that are supported by the integration. Check this frequently as we are constantly adding capabilities here. Each function can be typically enabled individually. I have all the functions enabled and will demonstrate how these are used in the Dynamics platform. The first, and potentially the most important, is contact synchronization. Contact Sync pulls all the contacts out of Microsoft Dynamics and uploads them into GoTo. So let's have a look at GoTo and search for a contact, Carla. Now Carla is marked as Carla D. Yates, and she's currently working for Trey Research. Let's compare that contact with Microsoft Dynamics. So over here I've got Carla Yates. I mark each Dynamics contact by a letter D, but I can check that the number and the email address are all the same. Now let's add a new contact and see if we can find that in GoTo. We're going to add Jane D. Wilson, D for Dynamics, who is a sales manager and she works for Tires Galore. We will also add the email and the phone number for her contact. It's going to take about 5 minutes for the contact updates to be synchronized with GoTo. So what I'm going to do is to put on a clock and wait for 5 minutes and speed things up. So after 5 minutes at 30 times the speed, we were able to go to our GoTo application and see if Jane Wilson is now available. Going to refresh the application so that I've got the latest contacts. Type in Jane D. Wilson into my search, and there she is. I've got 2 Janes. So the contact synchronization has worked. The next feature that I'm going to demonstrate is screen pop. So I'm just going to ensure that my settings are set correctly in my voice under calls, that I have screen pop enabled, and I do. Now, using my cellular phone, I'm going to place a call as Sylvia D. Borelli to Jake. And this will trigger a screen pop for Sylvia D. Borelli in Microsoft Teams. I will now enter the call on my GoTo app and verify that yes, indeed, Sylvia Borelli is also appearing there as well. Now let's have a look at Microsoft Dynamics. And for Sylvia Di Borelli, let's have a look at all the previous activities we have had with Jake Breacher and other people in the company. I can see, for instance, that Sylvia has left me a voicemail previously. So this was a voicemail that she left, and the transcription of that voicemail was captured in Microsoft Dynamics under her contact. As I scroll through, I will find that I have other activities. Most of them are calls, some of them are inbound, some of them are outbound. I have a previous voicemail as well. Let me just open that up. And further down, I also have an SMS message. SMS messages are synchronized once per day. So now they're all put together under one date on Wednesday, the 17th of July. In this instance, you will find that they're all the same, and that's because they're generated by the dial plan as part of my automation process for calls coming into orders. So now you have seen call log feature, voicemail transcript, and messaging as the different functions of our integrations with Dynamics. Now let's take a look at how calls can be viewed differently in Microsoft Dynamics. A great place to start is under the Calls button. This will give you a full history of all your calls. You can then prioritize based on the date of when the calls came in. You can see that I have a lot of calls between Jake Breacher and Sylvia Borelli. You can filter for the dates of interest. And you can also have different views depending on whether you want your call history. So these are all the calls in relationship to Jake. And if somebody else was involved, like Dobek, then that will be also included, for example, a conference or a transfer. You can view all phone calls, which will now give you information for all the calls that have taken place. So now you can see I've got some calls from Avery as well as Sylvia. But the interesting thing is that that view gives you the ability to look at the direction. So if it's inbound, outbound, and also the phone number. Now you can see that each phone number has been hyperlinked. So now to call, I could use either the web extension that I've got installed on my Chrome browser, or alternatively, I could simply click on the hyperlink and that will bring up the GoTo application, the GoTo softphone, and automatically make that call out to the destination. So in this instance, you can see that I'm presenting a New Zealand number in Auckland to Sylvia. So now we have seen synchronization of all your contacts. We have seen a screen pop. We have also seen click to dial. We have seen synchronization between the voicemail transcription and Microsoft Dynamics, the capture of all the SMS messages, and call logs for all the contacts. Now let's have a look at the steps to set up the integration. If we are using a standard cloud-based Microsoft platform, the steps are relatively easy. In the authentication type, follow the default of authorization code grant. For subdomain, make sure it matches the same information found in the URL of your Microsoft Dynamics application. Next, you will need to populate the client ID and client secret information obtained from Microsoft Dynamics. And there is a link that you can follow that gives you detailed instructions. The instructions will detail how to use Microsoft Azure in order to register an application, define permissions for it, and obtain client ID and client secret information. I'm already logged into Azure, so now I will click to Manage Microsoft Entra ID. Click on App Registration. I already have an application registered that's currently working, so you need to add a new one. Enter a name for the registration and click to register. Note the application client ID. This will be entered into GoTo. Click to add a client or a secret. Add a new client secret. Give it a description and click to add. Note the value of the new client. This will be entered into GoTo. You will also have to update the API permissions to ensure that you select Microsoft Dynamics. To do that, add a permission and select Dynamics CRM from the list. You're going to have to select delegate permissions and user impersonation. Now that you've got all the information, you can go in and enter that into the GoTo application and click to connect. After a moment, it will turn green to indicate it's connected.